So, here we are, the Creator Pod. So we're finally in the next phase of the DonCast. We're here in the Creator Pod in our new home. Just before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to remind everybody that you too can create your own podcast, videos, business promotion, content, whatever it is that you want right here using this gear. Obviously, it'll be like sanitized and stuff, and we've got quite a few of them. So moving into today's episode, the first episode that's being recorded from my side here in our new home, we've got Laura Kelly.
My name is Laura Kelly. Hello. Please don't worry, I'm all right. I had a test this afternoon. Don't be worried.
Laura is an extremely talented musician that uses a loop pedal to create her own backing music. Laura will be performing in the Wool Market live online event that will be streamed to our Facebook page on Saturday the 13th of March. You'll be able to see her talent for yourself. Remember, we'll have various vendors open at the Wool Market so you can order in your food, drinks, whatever else it is that you need ready for the show on Saturday, 7 p.m. So in this episode, Laura and myself talk about the last 12 months, how she got started in music, who Trevor is, and what the future holds for local musicians. It's an absolutely brilliant conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the longest episode yet because we just got talking too much. But it makes for some great content. Enjoy the episode. Right, lovely. So we're recording and we've got Laura Kelly today on the DonCast. Laura, I always find it's better when you introduce yourself because you know yourself better than what I do. So who are you and what do you do?
My name's Laura Kelly. I am a musician, singer from Barnsley, although I'm now Doncaster proud. And I do something called live looping, which is pretty much a busybody alternative to a backing track. So it just means that I can play instruments or percussion, I can loop it in and I can create my own, effectively my own backing as I'm singing. So it's quite fun, quite a lot of patience. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I love doing it. So
it's incredible to witness.
You what?
It's incredible to witness.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've been doing it only for 5 years, you say?
About 5 years now, yeah. Yeah, properly. Yeah, I've always played a little bit with looping and things, but it's been 4.5 years I've been doing it for a living.
Yeah, for a living. I assume then, as with what I just assumed with most musicians, you've just been into music forever, as long as you can remember. Yeah.
I don't think you get a lot of people that start getting interested in playing music later. I think it's something that you always kind of have as a kid, and I've always.
I do think there's something with musicians and other various industries as well. I do think some of it's a born talent. Like you work on it, you can get better at it, you can improve. But I do think, I don't know what everyone's opinion on this is, but my opinion is you've got to be born with something like a seed of this. Yeah. If you want to grow this particular talent, it is already in you to start with.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of musicians will agree it's not necessarily about your ability to play, and sometimes it's about if you've got an ear for it, if you can hear things, because a lot of people, they'll listen to a song and they can't hear certain things in the song. Their ears aren't in tune to certain bits, or they can't hear if something's wrong or if something's not quite right, or if they've got it, they don't know they've got it because they haven't particularly got an ear for it. So I think sometimes you've got to be born with an affinity to music and an ear for it. You know? But like when you're a kid sat at a piano, you know, and you make up songs and you listen to it, nobody's actively teaching you that. You're doing it, you're processing it through your brain, and I think a lot of that is musicians. You know, you don't. Yeah, it is very creative. I think you've got to have that.
Definitely. We may as well jump straight into the loop pedal bit because it is so fascinating. Now, I didn't know what a loop pedal was until I think I saw Ed Sheeran a fair few years ago. He does that type of stuff, doesn't he? Or he did do that stuff. And I remember he did a song, and I was glued to YouTube thinking, oh, why can I watch more of people doing this? And then now I find out that we've got our very own local loop pedal extraordinaire. No, honestly, it is incredible to watch. But so you obviously you're into music, you're growing up, you like music, you want to do music, but the loop pedal thing, that's even a further step. That's not like the norm for a musician, like you just be good at singing or whatever. You've took it to a new level. So what made you get into the loop pedal stuff?
Well, I mean, part of it is just I quite like prattling about. That was something that started. I don't know if I'm allowed to say prat.
Yeah,
but,
you can do one.
I always enjoy just kind of messing around sometimes. And I used to do some stuff with software. And when I finished college, I wanted to carry on with music, but I didn't want to do music practice at university. I wanted to do something that opened a few more doors, that was a bit more scientific, if you like. So I did music technology at university, and that opened massive doors to studio equipment, to recording equipment, to live sound, to all these different effects pedals, essentially. And we did a lot of engineering. So it kind of opened a lot of things up. And I'd known of these loop pedals because I saw Katie Tunstall when I was 18. And I think I just started playing the guitar. I'd been playing the guitar for a year or so. And I'd not been, guitar was my last sort of thing I came to, instrument-wise. And I saw Katie Tunstall using these loop pedals, and I watched it like you did, Ed Sheeran, and I thought, what is this? What is this? And she had this huge tambourine, and she's stomping her feet, and it was absolutely fascinating. So I got on for my birthday. Yeah, and then a lot of it is just, you know, honestly, it was lonely Friday night girl at home in a bedroom with headphones on, just doing all sorts of rubbish, and it just sort of evolves then into it, and then you gain the confidence to go out there and play, and again, you only get that from playing. I started doing a bit of work in bands, and then I started doing a little bit solo, and then open mic nights, and then all of a sudden you kind of build momentum, and then it grows, and then the more that you do, the more that you want to do. So then you get more pedals and you get more effects and more things, and it kind of grows like a snowball. So, but it started with something very, very tiny, which was just getting some stuff from uni and prattling around.
Do you remember the very first song that you made with the loop pedal?
Where
you thought, oh, I've done it. I've got it. This one actually sounds really good. No?
It might have been. No, I don't think I do, because I mean, Gangster's Paradise, that was when it went from I'm just messing around a little bit and doing some stuff and having a bit of a joke. That's when it went to another level for me, because that was the most loops I'd ever done. I think there was something like 20 something loops in that.
Wow.
And there were so many vocal parts, and that was the one that it was the first track that I actually practiced, recorded, listened back to it when I'd had sort of rested ears, and analysed it and changed it, and then recorded it and listened back to it. That's when I got like a bit OCD about it, but and when I played it, it was something I always get asked for. And even now, years later, when I try not to do that song too much, I get asked for it all the time. It was just something that, it is a great tune. I really enjoyed it. Oh, it's a great tune. And it's perfect for looping. Just 4 chords, just repeat. The bass line's repeated, all the harmonising, all the vocals that come in and out, all the bits of choir sort of singing. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And I remember using a lot of, I double octavated my voice. So I effectively sent two octaves down and sung the bass line in, and I remember the first time I heard it through a good PA speaker, and it sounded like it sounded ridiculously like a drum and bass type stuff. It was great. So I think Gangster's Paradise is probably, but the first ones were just crap. It was just, I must have tried you try about 50 songs on the loop pedal, and you go, no, that's not going to work. Don't like it. No, try this one. No, I don't like that one. That doesn't work. Yeah. And eventually you'll drop on one, and it was always seems to be daft stuff. Like, but the ones that are stuck has always been, Feel Good Inc., Gangster's Paradise, all those ones that have a bit more bite to them.
Yeah. How long does it take from thinking, right, I'm going to have a go at whatever track? How long does it take for you to go from, I'm going to try this track, to then being able to do it? I imagine, I'm thinking weeks, months, or is it like you could do it in a day?
No, it's a day. Yeah, a day.
Wow.
The thing is, it's one of those things that you work out, and you can do it in 2 or 3 hours, really, if you know the song well. And the first thing is listening to the song like 50 times at least. And then obviously it's got to be a song that you can actually do, because there's so many songs out there that you just can't loop. Like Motown is just difficult. Disco and 70s stuff, ABBA, anything like that is just really difficult for the loop pedal, unless you're just doing percussive looping. So you're not actually putting a key into the looper or a bass line, you're just effectively playing with a percussion track. But so first is the vetting process, which takes absolutely ages to find one. I listen to Magic FM and all sorts of rubbish in my car, and I'll go, oh, this one I could do, and I'll make a little note on my phone. But the main thing is, learning it, seeing if it's doable. And once you kind of decided that, a lot of the work is, where am I going to put it on my loop pedal? How am I going to create dynamics in the song? What am I going to put together on a channel so that when I take that channel out, there will be a significant drop in the dynamics? So if you just have the same thing stacked and stacked and stacked on the loop pedal, it just gets repetitive. It just gets boring. There's no sort of sense of space in the song. So a lot of it is creating that. What can I drop out? Oh, if I take the bass out, I've left the kick in. So I want the kick and the bass together on that track. And if I take all the percussion out, it sounds empty. So I need some hats on a separate channel, along with maybe the bass line, to keep that going and keep me in time. So I know where I am. So then it's a matter of working out, 1, 2, or 3, and then how I'm going to bring it in. And then I have to change it around again for what order I'm going to initially record it in. Because I can't record anything on a microphone after I've done loads of banging and percussive things on the guitar, because the microphone will pick up all that ambient sound on the stage. So I have to do all the clean things first in the mic, and then I have to do it after. So that means I've got to practice with loudspeakers to make sure I get no spill. My neighbours, I'm sure they hate me.
I bet.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's not the working out the song, it's the logistics afterwards. And then you start gigging it and everything changes. You think, oh no, can't do that, I've got to do that the other way. And it takes at least 5 gigs to get it where it's like, okay, this is happening. And it's remembering, you know what I mean?
You must be like the queen. You must be like the queen of multitasking, to be able to think of that many things. I remember watching. So for people that are listening and watching that don't know, we've already pre-recorded what's going to be like a live premiered event for Facebook in the Wool Market where you performed. So I've seen and witnessed this live, and I'm thinking, right, I struggle to do, without being cliche and being a man and stuff. I mean, I'm doing a few things here right now all at once, so I can do a couple of things. But I'm watching you and I'm like, how are you? Where's your brain? What is going on? Because you're doing, it seems like you're doing so many different things all at once. My head would fall off.
It's all about, I suppose it's like, when you start driving, when you're like 18 or 17 and you've got to do multiple things at once. And next thing you know, you can do all those things and you put a radio on. And the next thing you know, you might have, not that I do this, but you might have a hands-free on, and then you might be looking at things, and you kind of add things as you're going along. So it certainly didn't start that way, but it's all just about repetition. just repetition and repetition. And then you start to have your own little systems. So if you actually deconstruct what I'm doing, I tend to have a very basic system to what I'm doing. I'll always start on channel 1 with my right foot with a banging. And it's kind of like you kind of then build from that. But a lot of it is, repetition, just memory.
Yeah. That's actually a really good analogy using the car thing, because I suppose when you drive, you're doing so many things, aren't you? And to be fair, with when you've been driving lots of years, you don't think about driving, you just drive. Yeah. No, I like that. I do like that.
Well, it sounded good in my head, but I sound a bit of an idiot now saying it.
No, it's great now. So the last 12 months, we should talk about this. Obviously, everybody knows it's been absolutely diabolical for 99.9% of people. What's it been like for a professional musician where nobody is allowed to do gigs or anything, or people have adapted? Have you done anything like maybe online or what have you in the last 12 months? I don't know.
No, I haven't done anything online. Obviously I've done that with you, and I did something else for a place called the Olive Lounge in Wickersley. They were doing like an online thing, but you actually turned up and played to people, a bit like what I did for you. It's not at home like this, talking to yourself, playing to yourself. I always find that I wouldn't be very good at that. I'd end up just getting too nervous and getting drunk or something. I don't know what I'd do. I haven't done anything like that online. Didn't do any sort of live streamings of myself and things. I don't really enjoy that. I like playing live, and I like playing to people. And I know there's people sat at the other end, but there were so many musicians doing it as well. They didn't need me to do it. There's loads of them. And there was, I think the worst part for me was that brief sort of hiatus that we had. Yeah. Because everything was rubbish for months. But because I'd been gigging quite a lot, it was nice to have a little bit of a break. And I didn't get a lot of weekends off to spend with my family, or I know I couldn't obviously spend it with my family, but especially Alan, my husband, I didn't get any Saturday nights with him, just Friday nights with him. I'd just leave him and come back at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, oh, hello, hi. and then it'd be all over again the next weekend or midweek or anything. So I enjoyed that at the beginning, having a bit of time. Yeah. And when we started coming out of it, it was great. I thought, oh, thank God, everything's great. And I was so grateful I was a solo acoustic, because bands didn't get the bookings because you can't really social distance. But with an acoustic musician, you can stick them in a beer garden in the corner.
Yes.
And you can be away from everybody, and you can still have a crowd, and you can turn up on your own, touch your own gear, sort all your own stuff out, and then just go home. And it was great. And it started to sort of snowball, and then
Saturday, the 13th of March, 7 p.m, we're bringing to you the Wool Market Live. We've got performances from The Messengers, Laura Kelly, and masterclasses from Rustic Pizza and Liquor Labs. You'll be able to follow along with your Rustic DIY pizza kits.
Hi guys, it's Lee here from Rustic Pizza Co. I am here to introduce our DIY pizza kit.
And your cocktail making home kit from Liquor Lab.
Hello friends, it is me, and I'm on your big screen because you have bought one of our Liquor Lab kits. Yeah!
Whilst enjoying some fantastic entertainment. The event will be premiering on the Wool Market Facebook page Saturday the 13th of March, 7 p.m.
Don't get me wrong, if I'm looking kind of dazzled.
Several of our vendors will be open. All the information will be on the Facebook page. Make sure you get all of your orders in and enjoy the evening's entertainment. The Wool Market Live, brought to you by Market Asset Management, the market operators. It sounds crazy, some of this, doesn't it? Like, you can go on your own, you can touch your own things without having to worry about sanitizing and what have you. It's like, what is this conversation? Like,
I know.
13 months or whatever, this had been
crazy. Well, it was funny because it was, I did I did a few months at Butlins in like August, September, October, and just before lockdown, the lockdown got announced where I was actually at Butlins, and I did like a residency there, and it was, you displayed there for a whole week and you played every night, and there were constant restrictions and rules for musicians, and there was one time where the audience got a little bit too excitable and they started dancing and singing along, and you weren't allowed as a musician to get the audience singing with you. You weren't allowed to get them standing. They weren't allowed to crowd around you. They had to stop and sit at a table. And it was so difficult as a musician that I wasn't allowed to interact with the audience. So I wasn't allowed to ask them questions, or does anybody know what this song is? Yeah. Or hello, you weren't really allowed to do that. You had to go and do your show. They had to sit nicely in the chairs. And we just had to move on, at the end of the night, and then do it all again. And it's the total opposite of what you'd be a great musician if you could get people dancing and singing along and heckling and shouting out and asking you for songs, and it's
they've just said, aren't they, like 80% of what you do, don't do it. Like getting the crowd involved, getting people dancing. That's the whole point of having a musician involved.
It was like, be entertaining, but don't get the audience all riled up. Let them, make sure they stay in the seats. And it was really hard because I used to accidentally talk to them and be like, oh no, don't. But that was really hard. But I understand. It's part of why live music, is not really allowed more than anything else. Is because you've got a live musician there. You can't expect people to not get up and dance or get a bit excitable or enjoy themselves too much and then break social distancing. Most of the gigs I did, there was something that would happen. I did a few in Retford where people got kicked out of the pub.
Wow, Retford, known for it being wild.
And I'm trying to say, I'm really sorry, guys, but you actually can't really dance. You've got to stay in your seats, and it'd be 9:30.
Oh my God.
They'd be like, I've got to finish now, guys. And
what you been kicked out for? Really tapping my foot to the rhythm. Absolutely.
Yeah. But then obviously it all got taken away again. So now we're back to nothing. So that's harder when it's been given. But
yeah, we had a brief little stint, didn't we? I know for us, obviously we work with a Wool Market, a lot of hospitality stuff. When we eat out to help out last August, and it were like, everybody have at it kind of thing for a month. And then, just after that, we're then back into nobody's allowed to do anything. And you're like, oh, but it is what it is, I suppose. And we've got to do that.
Yeah, it is the right thing to do, I suppose. But it was, it was hard. But I'm glad I got out there again a little bit, or else I'd have been a year without even playing. I think I might have forgotten what to do.
Yeah. And there's a lot to remember with what you do. So I
have a book that have notes in it in case if I come back to a song that I haven't done in like years, somebody says, oh, I'd like you to do this song, do you know it? And I'll say, oh, I do, I worked it out. I have a huge book with notes and diagrams for the different channels and like drum notation and things like that for what I'm doing when. So luckily I have everything written down, so I got to study now before I go back.
Wow, you got to This is incredible. This is not just about singing songs. This is brilliant. This is good.
Remembering the tempo of songs.
Yeah.
Do you go like that and think, how is that song? What tempo is it? And it's very noticeable. You take something up 3 dBm.
Yeah.
You can totally notice it. That's the hardest thing as well, remembering tempo. I do songs too fast and too slow all the time.
Yeah, I bet you notice more than us though, the audience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're just trying not to dance.
You are?
We're just trying not to dance and clap along.
Yeah, try not to shout out. We'll be like, she's all right, that one.
Yeah, you just sat there like, you're thinking, I wonder if I'm any good. Do they like me? And they're all just sat like that.
It's like that jazz club stuff. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the Wool Market Live recording?
Oh, I had a great time. I had a fabulous time. Yeah, and it made all the difference, to actually go out and be on a stage. And even though there wasn't many people there, it was great to actually, It was
It was
great.
good. I enjoyed it because obviously we've I'm a big part of the plan with the planning with musicians and all the rest of it, and obviously we've not been able to do any of that now for, as everyone keeps saying, we've not been able to do this for 12 months, but we haven't. And then to be in here and have almost like my own private show, it was like, I know there was a handful of people there, staff and stuff, but like it felt like a little private show, but it was.
Yeah.
It was just so good. And I was like, oh, do you know, because it's been so long as well, it is easy. You adapt, humans adapt and you forget and you kind of get used to things. And then as soon as I heard the messengers and then yourself, I was like, oh, hang on. I know I liked live music before, but now I really remember that I love live music.
Yeah.
It was.
I had a great time. It was fab. Like you say, you kind of get desensitized to it, you know, staying at home and not going out, and then you get a little glimpse of it and you're like, oh, this is what it's meant to be like.
Yeah.
This is not meant to stay at home and sit in his pajamas at 8:15 watching Sopranos box sets, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's good for a week or so.
Yeah, but that's not life, is it? You're meant to be out meeting new people. And you know what? It got to the point where you kind of felt a bit guilty that we were all having this little show. I don't know if you remember, there was one point where some strangers were just walking past, and they were looking in like through the windows, and there's a live band on, and there's some people in there, and what's happening? What's going on? Yeah. And it kind of felt a little bit like, oh yeah, go on, off you go.
You know, we're doing something really bad.
Guilty, like, oh, yeah, it was great. The band was great though. They were really nice lads. I liked them.
They were. The Messenger, they're absolutely fantastic. I've been going through, so I've received the footage and the video and the audio, and I've been looking through it and stuff, and it's so good. It is really good. It's nice to get a project where I'm editing a few bits together, and I'm just reliving all of the songs again, and I'm like, oh, I forgot they did that one. That's good. That's good. It is really good. Do you have any gigs or anything booked for the rest of this year then, as people are starting to plan coming out of lockdown?
I do. I have quite a lot, and it seemed to be that the Monday of the announcement, that we were, the whole date of when we were coming out, the 21st. The roadmap got released. I seemed to the day after got loads of messages from hopeful people, but everything's provisional. It was the same. I don't really trust any of those bookings. I mean, they're in my diary. I'm not gonna not do them. I don't trust them yet. No, because things, it happened last year. It was, we were getting married in May, so we're going to get married next May, and then now they're not getting married this May. And, and then same with pubs and stuff. They're totally reliant on if they're allowed, and also if they can have enough capacity to afford to pay a musician, you know. Yeah. Yes, all of them are provisional. I've got a few outside for next month.
Wow. Any in Doncaster?
Yes, the Retford. The Retford? No, Scaffworth. The King William at Scaffworth I've got. And then I've got some ones in Scunthorpe. Mm-hmm. They did a lot more last year. I got quite a lot of Scunthorpe work because they were in tier 1. Yes. When we were in tier 3.
I remember.
So I was actually allowed to play in pubs in Scunthorpe. I had quite a few gigs at Scunthorpe, like the rugby club and the surrounding areas, because they were in a lower tier. I hardly got anything in South Yorkshire. Yeah. Last year. Oh no, I did a little bit in like Retford and
well, hopefully what we're doing now, getting this event off the ground, it's going to boost Doncaster, South Yorkshire as a whole even. We're planning to we just want to, from our point of view, we just want to really revitalize the music scene, because like I'm saying, I was experiencing this private show, if you like, and I'm thinking, oh, this is what I remember now. This is what it's about, coming out. And then if we could have had some of the food vendors open and been eating some nice food, having a couple of drinks along with it, you then start remembering again, this is what we all need to bring back. We need to work hard to bring this back as soon as possible, because it will just, the energy you get and the positivity. I remember I was buzzing all night, because I weren't drinking obviously, but you know when you feel like you've been on a night out because your adrenaline's quite high, and like I had all that feeling. Even when I got home, I was like, "Whoa, we've done something incredible tonight."
Settle down when you got home. I'm like that. I was like that night. You do 45 minutes and you're like, "Was that it? Is that all I'm doing? I'm just gonna go home." I was rattling around the house after it. Isn't it? It's really important to go back to that, because there's so many people like myself and the vendors in the wool market that rely on people going out and having a good time and valuing socializing, that now, you know, I think there's more need for it now after all this. Obviously, that's more. I can't wait till we're back, especially Doncaster as well, because Doncaster, I mean, I'm from Barnsley. I've lived in Doncaster for 5 years now. And before, you know, I used to travel to Doncaster. My first few gigs were at Cass Corner.
All right, yeah.
It was the first few times I'd played properly on my own, not in a band and not doing, you know. And I used to travel to Doncaster for the music scene, and I used to get 90% of my gigs in Doncaster, whether it be Vintage or the Wool Pack, or even like places like the Red Lion or the Salutation.
Yes.
Or all those places that used to do live music. And even before COVID, unfortunately, that a lot of those places had stopped. I mean, especially after Cass Corner shut down, that was like a central hub for live music. Julie used to just book so many bands and so many great events every Friday, every Saturday, every Tuesday, comedy night every Wednesday. And when they went, it just seemed to steadily sort of drop off, and then I would get to the point where I'd never really gig in Doncaster. And I moved here because I gigged here so much. You know, I did. I moved to Doncaster because it was like, I'm getting all my work in Doncaster. And obviously, I met my husband gigging. I used to be in a band with him in Doncaster.
Yeah.
And then, so I really hope that, because the Wool Market could be the next big sort of new venue. I've had more Wool Market than anywhere.
You mean will be, don't you? It will. It will be.
It will be. Of course, it will be.
That's what we're trying for. That's what we're aiming for. Not just us as well. It's not a selfish act. It's obviously there's lots of benefits that we get from having our facilities and stuff, but we want to shout out about everybody else, like everybody you've just mentioned there across Doncaster. Shout out to all of those types of places, and if they ever want to get involved and we want to collaborate, we're actively trying to do that now, in any way that we can, because we want to revitalize Doncaster. Obviously, we hope that people come here and eat the food and enjoy the entertainment, but ultimately, if Doncaster's a great place, we all win. Everybody wins then, and that's what we want. I've got one last question for you. Before we talk about like your social media, where we can find you online and stuff. But if you could only perform one song, so we're booking you for one gig and it's this special thing, you can only do one song. What song would you choose to do? What's the favorite one that you just love doing? It's not.
Well, I know what my instinct is. However, it's not very technically challenging, and it's not something that represents me. But my favorite is my favorite. I do it all the time. It's Shaggy. I absolutely love doing it. And mainly because it just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh so much. Like when I first started doing it, and I used to do it with a Yorkshire accent. It took me ages to try and get that Jamaican sort of Jamaican. I think it's Jamaican, isn't it? Like twang on it kind of thing. And I used to do it all the time, and I absolutely love doing that song just for the absurdity of it. And if everybody's sort of enjoying it and loving it and sort of doing this, that's great. But I always love it because there's always one face in the audience that's just going,
what is happening? What is going on?
And I just love it. It just makes me laugh. But it's one of those things that I am sure there's so many musicians that are just like, oh, that's so gimmicky. That's so gimmicky. You know, musical snobs. I'm sure there's loads of them.
No,
like,
it's entertainment.
Why don't you play Fleetwood Mac and, you know, Janis Joplin and all these great sort of, and here I am doing Mr. Lover or something.
Lover.
But it's genuinely, it is my favourite. I absolutely love doing it. Just for me. It's great. I love it. And it was my first ever CD. My first ever CD. Me and my sister got Angel, and on the B side of it was it wasn't me.
That is incredible. I remember this. I remember this back in the day, singing "You Are My
Angel," and it was
like that.
1999, and it was like one of my first proper CDs. Yeah, I was 9 years old. And it was loved it.
I've just had a glance over at my notes, and I can't believe that I've almost let you go before talking about is Trevor in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did the idea for old Trev come in?
It was the same thing as what I said. It was just prattling around. It was
Messing it, and you thought, oh, what if I could duet with myself? So, just for people that don't know, what's Trevor? Who's Trevor?
Trevor, bless his heart. Trevor is essentially a figment of my imagination, I imagine. By now, just justifies my schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Trevor it's an octave pedal that I could speak into. And if you play around with the settings and cut out your voice, you can hit a pedal essentially and come out an octave lower. So it's my voice and my tone and everything. It's just taken down an octave.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a sort of man, a very, very rough man.
Yeah.
It all depends on how he's feeling. If he's done his vocal warm-ups, it sounds like a man. If he's not, it sounds like a robot. But yeah, so I call him Trevor. I don't even know where the name Trevor came from.
No, well, I found it hilarious when you mentioned it while performing because my father-in-law's called Trevor. And I was just thinking this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. What I'll be doing as well throughout this episode is opening some of the performance that we've got. So for people that want to hear what Trevor sounds like, I imagine I've either just played or will play now some of Trevor's performance. That is brilliant. Laura, where can we find you? Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I'm just saying I don't think Trevor behaved himself at the Wool Market. I think he had a hard time. He was a bit out of practice. He'd not had his little pre-gig cry in the toilet. I think he was a little bit rattly.
He's been locked up for a while, so
yeah, he's all right. Bless him.
Where can we find you on the internet if people want to have a little look at you and see what you do?
This is something I should totally have done in lockdown. I should have got myself more organised with this. I have got a website.
Yeah.
And I have got some YouTube videos, not loads, just ones that people have taken of me and some ones I've done years ago.
Yeah.
And I've got Facebook, which is Laura Kelly Music. That's your best bet. And an Instagram, Laura Kelly.
Yes, I just remember that is actually genius because I remember it. Yeah, we were.
Yeah, but a lot of times if you type in Laura Kelly Music in Google, I'm sure there'll be YouTube and all sorts of stuff come up. But I am going to get my head around that. It's just the one part I really don't enjoy doing, all the sitting at the computer and compiling my talent in a bundle. Just kind of go, look, here I am. Yeah, I just don't like that bit. Well, I need to get better.
We'll do our best to put you out there, put your talent out there. Don't worry about that. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And it's gone. I know I usually say these podcasts are going for about 20 minutes and we've gone way over that, which must mean that it has been a really, really good episode, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
But that really doesn't shut up.
No, but it's been very informative as well as entertaining. I've learned a lot.
Oh, good. I hope I didn't go into too much technical stuff. My mum's always saying to me, just tell them that you hear it and you play it. Just you don't have to go into all what channel and what order and how you do.
Oh, I think there's lots of people that'll find that really interesting.
I was just gonna say it's been nice to do something today. It's been lovely. Everyone who's watching, please come down to the Wool Market when we're back. Please come down and support live music as well when we're out of it, when we're finished. You know, go out and see a show, see a band, because we need you to make a living.
Yeah.
Essentially. So yeah, come back and we'll make Doncaster one of great live music town.
Brilliant. Saturday, the 13th of March, 7 p.m, we're bringing to you the Wool Market Live. We've got performances from The Messengers, Laura Kelly, and masterclasses from Rustic Pizza and Liquor Labs. You'll be able to follow along with your rustic DIY pizza kits.
Hi guys, it's Lee here from Rustic Pizza Co. I am here to introduce our DIY pizza kit.
And your cocktail making home kit from Liquor Lab.
Hello friends, it is me, and I'm on your big screen because you have bought one of our Liquor Lab kits. Yeah!
Whilst enjoying some fantastic entertainment. The event will be premiering on the Wool Market Facebook page Saturday the 13th of March, 7 p.m.
Don't get me wrong, if I'm looking kind of dazzled.
Several of our vendors will be open. All the information will be on the Facebook page. Make sure you get all of your orders in and enjoy the evening's entertainment. The Wool Market Live, brought to you by Market Asset Management, the market operators.